Okay, good afternoon. First, I want to thank Rami for all the years. It was a great honor for me to be his student, and I'm still working with him today. This work it deals about a simulation, about experiments which were done about 20 years ago, about presynaptic calcium currents and their depression by high pressure. This work was done on frog axons, and as you can see, there's a perineural sheath and the terminal, and the stimulation was on a distal point, and the currents were recorded near to the terminal. There was a closed loop because the currents came under the perineural sheath. They flew in the axon and returned in a closed loop, as you can see. Now, in my model, I built the same axon based on a Yoram simulator, and I put different voltage-dependent conductances on the terminal and on this node. The stimulation was on the distal point, and the action potential progressed in to the direction or to the recording point and activated an action potential also here and on the terminal. Now, we know that only on the terminal there are calcium channels, and on the other parts there are voltage-dependent channels, but no calcium channels were found. On the left side, in the black curve, you can see the control response with all the currents. In order to reveal I want to return back one point. The calling point was here, and the inward current were recorded on this point as outward current. Now on this point we measured all the currents, the local ones and the currents which came from the terminal. Now, in this slide, in order to reveal the outer currents on the node, in the experiment on the left side, TA was inserted in the bath, and you can see that after 60 minutes, on the green curve, a green outward current was revealed. And the same thing we did by a computer model when we decreased stepwise the conductance of the sodium. So you can see the same, a similar response to the experiment. Now, in order to see which kind of outward current exists in the last curve, in this curve, in the green curve, in the experiment, the extracellular calcium concentration was diminished, and you can see that that was the control state, and after decreasing the extracellular calcium solution, the outward current was almost diminished. And the same thing we did in the computer model by decreasing stepwise the calcium count. Now, two types of calcium conductance could be seen, a fast one and a slower one. We simulated these types of calcium count by the fast activating N count and the slow activating L-type count, L-type calcium count. We know that pressure also decreases sodium counts, and you can see that in the experiment, after inserting TTX, okay, yes, after 80 minutes, the invert count on the node decreased. And also in the experiment, we did the same thing by decreasing the sodium count also on the terminal, and then after, first we blocked, we decreased the sodium count on the terminal, and then after a few steps we decreased the sodium count on the terminal and nearly all the sodium count on the most proximal node to the terminal. That's the pressure effect. The control state is this curve, and after pressure 3.5 megapascal, in the experiment we became the blue curve. You can see that that this kind of calcium type count decreases due to the pressure, and the slow activating calcium count wasn't so much decreased. Then, on this pressure, the solution was increased, and the effect was mainly, and this effect enhanced mostly the slow activating calcium count, and less the slow activating, and less the fast activating calcium count. Now, the question is, why calcium is depressed? Is it due to the depression of the sodium, which activated the action potential? And due to the sodium, the calcium was depressed? Or the question is maybe pressure depressed directly the sodium, the calcium count, also with no presence of the sodium count. This result was based on the experiment, so you can see, and what Rami did in the experiment, he made a direct stimulation without TTX in order to activate the calcium. Now, you can see two curves in the presence of sodium. That's a controlled state, and that's after exposure to 6.9 megapascal, and without any existence of sodium, and only by activation of stimulus of the stimulus local to the calcium. You can see that on the 1.1 megapascal, that's a curve, and after to the exposure to pressure, there is some decrease of the calcium count. So the conclusion are that the experimental results could be mimicked by the theoretical model by decreasing the different conductances. And in coordination with the experimental results, in the computer model, high pressure decreased sodium and calcium counts, However, calcium cards are depressed by pressure also in the absence of sodium cards. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Gideon. I think we have time for one quick question. Well, if nobody else. Gideon, if I could ask you quickly, these results from the simulations, were you doing the simulations before the experiments or the simulations done after? 20
years after the experiment.
That's a long time for analysis. Thank you very much.